What's up guys, Draco here, talking about humour, particularly brain rot humour, which I think I've said before, but I don't really get it. But I watched, so I've never watched the Minecraft movie, but I did watch RT Games' analysis of the Minecraft movie, and I think I'm starting to understand the appeal of, brain rot humour. To be clear, I still don't think it's funny, but I think that what he basically picked out was the climax of Chicken Jockey being such a iconic moment, and the rise of absurdist humor, where it really there's nothing funny about it, but everyone just chose to be I'm butchering the delivery of this, but I'm trying to not it's quite hard to describe briefly. But yeah, it's just there's nothing funny, but you're just laughing at how bad it is, and that was what makes it funny. And I think that's the thing. It's the same with 6-7 or whatever. No one actually thinks it's that funny at its core, but people have just sort of made a joke about it anyway. And it's sort of become funny through that. I think that's the other thing. It's not trying to be something it's not. It's not trying to be a really good joke. It's just something that was stupid initially and people picked on. No, it picked on. It caught up. It caught on. That's the word. I'm really bad with terms. Yeah, you wouldn't, I feel like, from the way I speak, I sound like I'm a lot older than I am. Or, no, not from, obviously I speak with very, bad vocabulary, but I'm just saying, from the way I'm oh, I don't understand all this young person lingo, I don't understand these 6-7 and these tiki-takis, whatever. Oh, that's a good old May, you know? But, yeah. Can't wait to be, a grumpy old curmudgeon on my lawn, being back in my day, we didn't have all of these things. Unfortunately, with AI, the world might end before then, but, you can always hope. But, yeah, I don't know. I feel like we've got a huge push into absurdist humour very recently, and I don't, do I get it? I guess I do, because stuff like Hello There from Star Wars, it also has no substance behind it, but I just find it very funny. I think it's just I don't understand modern, maybe it's just I haven't watched the stuff it comes from, but I think that's the other thing with all this humour, the fact you don't need to know a reference. It's just funny to them anyway, 6-7. No one knows where that started. But everyone's just haha, 6-7. The same with the mitochondria is the power of the cell. No one actually knows what that means. Well, biologists do, and people who care about it do. But a lot of people say that without actually knowing what it means. I vaguely know what it means, but to be honest, I'm forgetting. But, there's a lot of things where it's just spread. And I think it's just I haven't experienced the spread of it until it was, a lot bigger. I don't know why I find Hello There funnier, because that's a reference to something. That one I know why I find it funnier. But, I never really found mitochondria as the power after the cell that funny. I think it's just 6-7 shows up so much in conversation that you can't really avoid it. Whereas you can kind of avoid the mitochondria stuff. But I think that this is a whole thing of the fact that you don't need to get a reference actually helps it spread so much better. Because the difference between, there's a lot of really good stand-up comedians who have really good jokes, but those jokes can't spread as easily because you have to give a setup, and it's a 2-minute joke to explain, which obviously 2 minutes isn't that long. But I mean, if you're just trying to spread something, it's a lot easier to say 6-7 than, okay, so I was walking to the grocery store, and in the grocery store, stuff like that. I don't think that's how. I think that's kind of how stand-up comedy works, but I didn't have a joke in my head then. I was just leading up. Honestly, yeah. So I was at the grocery store. I was buying some bread, and bread, you see, that's bread-tastic. And then I don't know. Yeah, I haven't gone to a grocery store to buy bread very recently, so I can't think of a fun story from that. And the last time I went to a grocery store to buy bread, I just bought some bread. Like, what do you want me to say? So yeah. But I really like Jack Black's, like, way of saying... He has a very interesting way of saying things where he doesn't really say something interesting, but it's still, like, just an interesting way he says it. It's like you see it loads in the Minecraft movie. Water bucket release, thinking steel, like stuff like that. I want him to just read my groceries to me, just like, buy some bread, stuff like that. That'd be really, because, you know, it's just, despite saying nothing, you still want to listen to what he's saying. I don't get it, but it's awesome. Like, he's not my favourite. I really like his voice. My favourite voice is probably Morgan Freeman off the top of my head. There's probably people who I like the voice of more, but Morgan Freeman's first one comes to mind. I'm like, yep, amazing voice. I think it's also his very distinct voice as well as it being a really cool voice. Because there's people who, I'm trying to hard for me to think of an example right now, but there are a lot of voice where it's like, that's cool, but it's just sort of I like that place's accent. Morgan Freeman is very distinct, so I can't be like, oh, I really like X accent. I just like Morgan Freeman's voice. Like, I think I really like Australian accents. They just sound pretty cool. But you can't, like, there's not, like, a specific person that I'd narrow down for that. But, yeah. But, I don't know, I think that part of the reason that jokes spread, like, I think it is partly because of our attention spans that it makes it so easy for these jokes to spread. The fact that we aren't willing to listen to a 2-minute joke. Obviously, it's easier to spread a shorter joke. But also, I think that people might just... There's a lot less people who will even get to the punchline of it. That's the other thing. You don't... Like, a lot of jokes these days don't have a punchline. You usually have a setup and then a punchline. And I think that's the issue. It's become so much like you need to have something that just immediately goes in without a punchline. Or, like, without a setup. Because otherwise people lose their attention too quickly. And I have a lot of issues with current social media and attention spans and stuff. But I think that our humour is a very easy way to reflect it without having to go too deeply or, like, looking at studies. You can just see, like, what's popular. And is it because it has a punchline? Not really. And that's really depressing. Not because it's bad now, but I think it's just going to get worse and worse. Honestly, I'm jealous. I genuinely wish that I could elicit that much joy from seeing people just go 6, 7, or saying E. Honestly, that's another thing. People, like, millennials don't understand the 6, 7 thing, but the E is the same. Just saying E and it's like, wow, this is funny. Which I never really found funny either. But, like, I feel like, for me, it's the hello there. Everyone has, well, not everyone, but a lot of people have these things where it's like, I find this one funny, but oh, it's just, like, this other one. And it's like, it's the same thing. There's no substance to the joke. You're just saying something random, and people are laughing. I think the other thing is, it wasn't made with the sake of, like, Chicken Jockey wasn't made to be this really funny thing. I said this at the start, I think. But yeah, 6, 7 wasn't made to be a really funny thing. It was just a throwaway line. That was like, it'll be kind of stupid. And everyone's like, this is stupid. I'm going to laugh at how stupid it is. And that's kind of how absurdist comedy works. There's lots of video. I mean, I mentioned RT Games. There's probably others as well that have gone way more into depth on this. But yeah, I think I'm appreciating absurdist humour more, even if I don't get it myself. But yeah, I genuinely wish I could elicit that much joy from hearing such simple nothing phrases like 6, 7, E, Chicken Jockey. Even like hello there, I've mentioned this a lot. I don't hear it and I'm like, this is fun. I don't know if people find it like that funny. But I guess it's kind of like oh yeah, that's kind of nice. I think that's the other thing. I don't know how much people are laughing at 6, 7, but I think people will at least elicit a little bit of joy. It's not like everyone's going at it being like, this is the funniest thing in the world. And I don't think anyone, like, needs to, for it to be a fun joke. Even if I don't appreciate it, I do think that it's done very well. And like, no, nothing's gonna be everyone's cup of tea, and I heavily respect that, like, even if I don't appreciate a joke, it can be a good joke. And I think that even though a lot of these things have no substance, I don't think that makes them a bad joke. And that's what I'm trying to appreciate. Because it's not trying to be a revolutionary thing. It's just trying to exist, and then people have gone like, let's latch onto this. And then it's just, like, people have fun. So yeah. Anyway, if you guys appreciate brain-rot humour, I heavily respect that. And I hope you continue to just find joy in your life with simple things. You don't need to, like, go out your way to find greater purpose, I feel like. I'm fully on board with live a peaceful, happy life. Don't try and look for a greater purpose. That's my goal in life, to just chill out and be happy. Obviously, like, there's things you have to do to be able to live, but you don't need to be this crazy person on a crazy quest. So yeah. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. And just go do something that makes you smile. Doesn't have to be big. Doesn't have to be extravagant. Just, yeah. Thanks for watching. Bye!